1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, Overlay, grab a seat. It's very true that anything I say after that will be a disappointment. Those words are absolutely true. That is because of Jesus Christ on the cross that we are free, and so we're thankful and we're grateful. We're excited people. And if this is your first time coming, I just want to say it is an honor to be here this morning with you. Welcome to Overlake. My name's Mike. I'm one of the pastors here. You might want to grab your notes out of your bulletin. We'll go through and kind of follow along with those notes today. We're in the middle of a series called Life. And we're talking about life as if it's this game, and there's the different sort of seasons in life, and we want to make sure that we go through the seasons of life. And some of you look at the game board, and you're like, wait, this is confusing. I don't understand. I was just thinking this week about when I was growing up, there'd be time to time that I'd do a game board. I'd play a game with a buddy or a friend or whatever, and they would know the game and I wouldn't. And every once in a while, when you're new to a game, when you're playing a game that you're not familiar with, it feels like your buddy is making up rules as he goes along. Raise your hand. Has that ever happened to you where you're just like, and then they come up with stuff, no, seriously, Mike, you rolled a 3. That means you got to run across the street to Johnny's house and grab me a Coke from his fridge. No, seriously, it's like in the rule book, you know. You're like, what? They're like, yeah, you pulled a 5. That means you owe me $5. Seriously, look it up, you know. And it's just confusing well, a lot of us approach life like that. In fact, in terms of the game of life, a lot of us think, you know what, it seems to me like the more I focus, the more I follow along, the more I try to control the outcome, the more confused I am. Right? The more confusing this whole thing is. I was thinking, is there even a cultural analogy to describe the kind of confusion that we feel? By the way, Lost, it's over today, right? Today is season finale. I am so excited. My wife is even more excited because she can't stand the show, and so she's ready for it to be over. But this idea of life, we actually found a graph. This is talking about how much control we have over life. And so if you take a look, you see the percentages go up on the side there. So high school, for some of us, a challenge. College rocks. Marriage, you lose a little control. Kids, you lose a little control. Oops, another kid, even more control, right? Then they go to college. Finally, the third one goes, oh, but then the child's back at home, right? Existential crisis. Then retirement, you have the most control. And then finally, you lose control of your bladder. And it's all done at that point. And so what I want to do is I want to talk to you about this game of life. Now, the goal is not just to survive. It's not just to make it 80, 90, 100 years. It's not just to exist. The goal is to win. And what winning looks like is living life from our deep heart. A heart that has been redeemed and restored by Jesus Christ. A heart that is fully alive. We talked about John 10:10 a couple of weeks ago, how Jesus says, I've come that you might have life to the full. We want to take a look at what does it look like for us to be in this relationship of love with God where His Spirit dwells within us, and so the fruit of His Spirit is evident in our life. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, just the fruit of what it looks like for God to dwell richly within us. We've talked over the last couple of weeks about how there are the exploring years and there are some benchmarks in the exploring years. So we hit the benchmark of delight and surprise. The goal in the exploring years, our early childhood years, is that we would understand that we are beloved. That we have a heavenly Father who loves us, who has created us, molded us in love, who now calls us forward in love. So we would understand this and be able to build a life from this kind of a platform of being beloved. Last week, Pastor Jake talked about how in the wonder years, we go through the benchmarks of adventure, responsibility, with the goal of being confident, that we would stand confident in who we are in Jesus Christ. Now, I want you to understand that in any season, whether it's the exploring years, wonder years, executive years, wisdom years, any season, we give sort of benchmarks or parameters for it. Like last week, Jake said from age 13 to 33, 35, something like that. And then for the executive years, I'm going to say, kind of roughly speaking, from 35 to 55, those years. But I do want you to understand those aren't hard and fast years. Some people enter into years early. Some people are kind of slow entering into years, recognizing that for some of us, we're just a little more mature. And then for others of us, we're just a little more immature. And so, actually, this doesn't even stick. So, you know what? Some guys are just like that.
1, 2, 3, 4.